5.
COVID has been challenging, for sure, but it's also given us an opportunity to collaborate across our district.
How educators are making playgrounds COVID-friendly. Plus, a Helena Bed and Breakfast holds a fundraiser for volunteer firefighters who saved their business from going up in flames.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Jessica Nelson. Thank you for joining us. Many things have changed for schools, including the way kids play outside on playgrounds. Helena Public Schools have adjusted their playgrounds with COVID-19 precautions while still maintaining the fun for students. MTN's Alexia Guayo shows us how.
If you look closely, you'll notice that these playgrounds are actually divided and organized so each group of kids are separated and safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the principal at Hawthorne, their playground area is divided into 4 zones, with each zone having its own entrance. Every morning, students enter in their designated entrance and line up 6 feet apart from their classroom. The same procedure follows during recess. Students are part of a designated family group. It's one family group per zone, and they are not allowed to cross their colored cones.
Because we do have these great areas, and within each of the areas we have approximately 20 to 30 students. So our family groups are well below 50. The students are able to kind of run and play within the areas. So we're lucky. We have the space to do those things.
Jefferson Elementary also considers themselves lucky. Similar to Hawthorne, they have family groups that switch between zones every week.
Behind me you see kids that were in the front last week, and this week they're in the back. So that way they're able to enjoy the whole playground. Maybe not every day, but every other week. Every day, students have access to their own colored equipment to make sure they do not touch from other groups. Because Jefferson has a hill next to their playground, sometimes they allow one group of students to eat outside while other groups play. Then they switch. This system allows for zones to be expanded, giving students more space to play. COVID has been challenging, for sure, but it's also given us an opportunity to collaborate across our district. So I worked with 150 super dedicated educators that wanted to make sure that we had everything in place that we could have in place for this to be a successful school year. Students are required to wear a mask all day, including recess. However, students can request a mask break where they step away from all the other children and take off their mask. Both Hawthorne and Jefferson agreed that the mask mandate has not been an issue for students. In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
Both principals say the students have adapted well to the new playground format. They say the students are excited to be outside with their friends again. All right, time now for a check of our forecast, and I think I'm going to need some extra hairspray the next couple of days.
Yeah, the extra hold hairspray. You mean you don't have it on there right now?
Well, a little bit.
Typical anchor hair right there. It's not going anywhere. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Air quality not the best out there, but we certainly have seen worse. Was worse just last week, but most of the state, moderate air quality. You probably could see that. However, that's not really going to be an issue as wind will really take over. I know it's windy in some places, but tomorrow will be an especially windy day. High wind warning in effect for the Rocky Mountain front out the High Line. A little further out the High Line, part of Valley County there, out by the Little Rockies, Hill and Blaine County under a high wind watch for not as strong of a wind, and a red flag warning for pretty much everywhere east of the Continental Divide. We are not through with fire season just yet. It's a wicked wind. Some trees, some branches could come down. Some power outages could be had here in parts of the state. I'll let you know where there may be 11 feet of snow. No, not in Montana. Don't worry. And not yet. Awesome autumn weather here. I'll let you know when all this wind will come to an end, coming up in the forecast.
This weekend, Oddfellow Inn Farm are raising funds to thank first responders that averted a potentially catastrophic fire event earlier this month. MTN's John Riley has more.
On September 2nd, the Oddfellow Inn and Farm narrowly avoided losing everything to a wildfire that burned more than 600 acres in the area.
Well, it was terrifying. I mean, my sweetheart gave me a call because he was up on the hill, and he said, you know, you might want to call your boss. It looks like there's a fire headed straight to Oddfellow. I was frantically trying to post on social media for people to bring their trailers out here as they were hitting everything with water. Like there was embers falling on the barn and just like a big black cloud of smoke coming towards them.
Fire crews were able to stop the fire from crossing Head Lane by Oddfellow, saving the historic property. To thank the crews that worked tirelessly to fight the fire and evacuate homes, Oddfellow will be holding a 5-course charity fundraising dinner on Friday, Harvestival on Saturday, and a charity brunch on Sunday, with all profits going to Lewis and Clark Rural Fire Services.
It's important for us to support those people in the community who are keeping us safe, and it's been really great to see the support that we've received through sponsorships or volunteers or donations. I'm just really excited that we're going to be able to present them with some funds that will hopefully help them continue to do the work that they've been doing.
Due to COVID guidelines, Oddfellow did have to limit the number of attendees to the Saturday event to 250 people. Tickets are sold out, however, they're still collecting donations online, and every dime will go to supporting local volunteer firefighting efforts. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Tickets are still available for the Friday night dinner and Sunday brunch. More information about the events and how to support local firefighting efforts can be found on our website. The Montana Supreme Court has issued another ruling in favor of solar power developers and against the State Public Service Commission. This time it affects a proposed solar power project just north of Billings. In a unanimous ruling, the High Court said the PSC did not follow state and federal law when it set contract terms for a proposed 80-megawatt solar power plant by Montana Sun. The ruling upholds a lower court order from 2019, which said Montana Sun should get a fair contract to sell power to Northwestern Energy. The High Court says Montana Sun should get the contract terms spelled out by the State District Court's decision. Northwestern and the PSC had argued that rates set by the court would unduly increase costs for Northwestern Electric customers. The latest data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows Montana ranks second to last in the nation in responses. As of today, 91% of Montana households had responded to the survey. Only Alabama had a lower response rate. If you haven't been counted, officials urge you to do so before September 30th. Census data is used to help determine things like federal funding for education, social safety nets, and highway infrastructure and planning, as well as appointment and redistricting of legislative districts. Call it a sign of the times. A local healthcare facility is preparing to offer a new service. MTN's Coulter Anstad shows us how Alluvian Health in Great Falls is trying to make education a little easier for employees with kids.
It's set up in like 4 different pod areas, so we're going to have workstations kind of separate from each other.
The former insurance office at 111 5th Street North in downtown Great Falls is about to become an education center.
We are serving multiple districts, and each of those districts has a remote learning procedure set in place, so we are simply just here to support that procedure.
The center is expected to open next week. For a small fee, Alluvian employees will be able to sign their kids up for one of 3 tutoring sessions each day, each a maximum of 4 hours. Courtney Dahl, who was a teacher in Great Falls for 7 years before being hired by Alluvian earlier this year, will help the kids with their schoolwork when they come in.
I think it's such an awesome and cool experience because this doesn't happen every day. I think that we'll see a lot of turnout, and I'm excited about that.
The center will be set up so kids will be socially distant, and there will only be 2 to 3 kids allowed in each of the 4 pods.
This will be kind of a break room for kids. I think the staff is really excited to utilize the facility. I just think that it gives them a peace of mind knowing that their kids can get support and that we're flexible with their schedule.
The center will be open through at least December. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstad, MTN News.
When we come back, Curtis has a midweek forecast update for us with more on some really windy weather coming our way. And later, we head to Washington, where Joe St. George introduces us to the men and women guarding the late Justice's casket. That full story when we return.
Weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenens.
All right, welcome back, everybody. An atmospheric river is headed towards Montana and the Pacific Northwest, and it will bring a lot of variation to the weather here across the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies over the next couple of days. A little hazy out there, some high clouds as well. Helena, 76 degrees right now, calm wind. Enjoy it because that is going to change. In Great Falls, 78 degrees, southwest wind of 17 miles per hour. And yeah, enjoy that because that wind is going to go up here as well. Across the state, most locations into the 70s and the lower 80s as well. Dillon down to about 69 degrees though. And there you can see the wind around Cup Bank out through Great Falls. Strongest off the Rocky Mountain front right now, but everybody will be windy over the next few days. Look at the wind increasing overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. You can see why high wind warning and a high wind watch been issued for areas out the high line here, but everybody will be looking at just an uncomfortable wind throughout the day, throughout the state here for not only Thursday, but also into Friday as well. Still, technically, a few wildfires are active. No growth on those wildfires here, and certainly good to see the rain out around Washington and Oregon. Not too much of that will make it into Montana, though, but at least getting close to the end of wildfire season for parts of Washington and at least northwest Oregon here, and still dealing with some flooding into the southeast. So a little hazy out there today. I do not think that the smoke will be something that we'll really have to be concerned about like last week. Still maybe a little smoke out there tomorrow, but with this front coming through, it's really going to push all of that smoke off towards the east, and then see more of a westerly flow setting up for later Thursday into Friday. And again, northern Oregon, all of Washington, not much in the way of smoke coming from any wildfires because of all the rain that they will see, and looking at good air quality for Friday into the weekend here as well. So smoke, not really that much of an issue after it clears out tonight into tomorrow. Speaking of tonight and tomorrow, here comes some rain, but look at this rain. This hits the Continental Divide and it's like a wall. That rain does not come east of the Continental Divide. There may be an isolated shower in the mountains around Helena or maybe out into the central part of the state later in the day tomorrow, but for the most part, it's one of those west of the Divide events. East of the Divide, we get the wind for Thursday and then also for Friday. Look, more rain up into northern Idaho and northwest Montana. That will likely stay up there. Here's the forecast for tonight. 40s and 50s, not as cool as the last couple of nights, and a little hazy with partly cloudy skies out there. And here is the forecast for tomorrow. Look at the cooler numbers, 50s and 60s, and a lot of wind. Areas off the Rocky Mountain front, some gusts could go up to 80 miles per hour. Havre, Chester, Chinook, we could see some gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Central Montana will be into the 50s and the 60s with a lot of wind, and around the Helena area, 50s into the higher terrain, 60s in the lower elevations. Here is the 7-day forecast for the Helena area. 72 tomorrow, a very windy day, a little mix of some sun and clouds for Friday. A couple of isolated, mainly showers into the mountains. Saturday and Sunday, not too bad. It's windy, and then looking into Monday, maybe a couple of showers into the morning. Pattern change though Tuesday and Wednesday as we put an end to the wind and the clouds and the stormy pattern here. Stormy pattern not resulting in a lot of precipitation for the Great Falls area. Maybe a few showers late Sunday into Monday, and then heading into Tuesday and Wednesday. There you can see that real nice weather pattern developing with temperatures into the 60s, a fine fall. So you can't say that we don't have a fall here in Montana, because here it is over the next 7 days at least.
Today marked the beginning of a 3-day tribute in Washington to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away last Friday. Our Joe St. George is in Washington and introduces us to the men and women guarding the late justice's casket over the next several days.
Thousands of Americans will stand in this line outside the U.S. Supreme Court over the next several days just for the chance to stand a few feet from the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's casket. There are, however, a few hundred men and women standing a bit closer, her former clerks. In fact, as Justice Ginsburg's casket arrived at the High Court this morning, it was her former clerks who lined the steps to meet her casket. Men and women flying in from all over the country to be here. They will take shifts now, standing near the casket over the next several days, guarding it, keeping watch, serving their boss one last time. Ginsburg was well known for keeping a close relationship with her clerks. Clerks are young attorneys who, for just a few months in their careers, research and write for justices. Colorado's Attorney General Phil Weiser is a former Ginsburg clerk who spoke with us about what it's been like on the steps of the Supreme Court today.
It's hard to believe she's gone. And so part of what this moment is coming to grips that we've lost such a giant who's meant so much to all of us.
What was her relationship like with the clerks?
She definitely remembered and she cared. My kids both had the chance to get to know her. I brought my daughter here.
Now, it is not a new tradition of former clerks serving as honorary pallbearers. It is one that goes back decades. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Folks will gather at the Women's Park in Helena tonight to honor the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The YWCA in Helena will host the event titled Filling Our Legacy. 3 generations of women will be speaking at the event, which kicks off tonight at 8 p.m. Director of the YWCA says filling our legacy is about picking up a baton passed from a giant. Again, the ceremony is tonight at Women's Park in Helena at 8 p.m. 5, it was delayed once, but the show must go on. We'll preview the Big Fork Film Festival after the break.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back with us. The 4th annual Big Fork Independent Film Festival had to adapt this year, moving the festival from April to October due to coronavirus concerns. MTN's Sean Wells talks to the film festival's director, who tells us what film lovers in the Flathead Valley can expect.
26 independent films will be showcased at the 4th annual Big Fork Independent Film Festival at the Big Fork Center for Performing Arts October 2nd through the 4th. The films range anywhere from features to short films and documentaries. Big Fork Film Festival director Steve Shapiro says all films are shot in Montana by Montana filmmakers. He says the film festival gives directors an audience to showcase their films they might otherwise not have.
You will be amazed by the quality of the films. These are real stories. These aren't people who shot their vacations. These are people who actually wrote scripts and got actors and did these films, and they're very, very well done and very, very fun to watch. And this is one of the few chances people are going to have to see these films.
Originally planned for April, Shapiro decided to move the festival to October due to coronavirus concerns. He says the added time has allowed the festival to put in extra safety measures, such as capacity limits, blocked off rows, and a mask requirement for all patrons. Shapiro says the theater will be deep cleaned after each block of films, and social distancing will be strongly enforced throughout the lobby.
So we want to make it a fun event, but we want to make sure it's as safe as we can make it so that we don't have any issues or problems related to COVID that could happen when you have people in one place.
One thing new to this year's festival is the hybrid model option, which gives viewers the chance to watch films from the comfort of their own homes. Shapiro says films will be loaded onto an online platform starting the day after the in-person festival and will be made available to viewers for up to 3 weeks.
So it gives people a chance to see them without having to necessarily be inside the theater.
Shapiro says online viewers will still have the chance to rate films, helping determine the Audience Choice Award winners. In Big Fork, Sean Wells, MTN News.
All right, sounds exciting. We'll be right back after the break.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, we'll have late reaction to the Breonna Taylor announcement, why no one was charged directly with her death. We'll also look ahead to the holidays, retailers now reimagining shopping in the time of COVID, what you should know when we see you back here tonight.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back with us. If you missed any of tonight's newscast, you can re-watch any of the stories or the entire newscast on your favorite streaming device. Be sure to download the KTVH app today. All right, thanks so much for joining us. That's all for us this evening. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night.